dreaming. Don't give it up, Luffy, dreaming. Don't give it up, Zolo, dreaming. Don't give it up, Nami. I want to talk about One Piece because guess who's caught up, guys? It's me, the One Piece chapter reviewer. Yes, I am now becoming a One Piece chapter reviewer. Spinny chairs, rise up. Woo! Woo! Yes, I've caught up to all of One Piece right now, including Wano, and I promised in my One Piece stream like ages ago I was going to make a video about it, so here you go. Now to preface, One Piece is one of my favorite series of all time. The reason I haven't made a One Piece video on my main channel is because, to be honest, I don't think I would ever be able to do it justice, unless maybe once it ends, maybe I'll make a video, who knows? But unlike a lot of other people, I like to read One Piece in chunks. I don't know how some of you motherfuckers read this shit weekly because I could not do that. And when I saw everyone blowing up about Wano, I was like, well, I guess it's time to catch up. Now, I normally don't dabble in One Piece discourse. Like, I kind of see myself as more of a casual One Piece enjoyer. You know, I kind of go about things at my own pace, don't really talk to many people about it, which is why I was so surprised to actually see that this was one of the most divisive arcs I've seen in a long time. Some think it was the best One Piece arc of all time, some found it disappointing, and some called it the worst One Piece arc of all time, which I'm just like, bro, are you high? So which camp do I sit in? What did I think of Wano overall? Yeah, it's pretty fucking great. Is this my favorite One Piece arc of all time? No. And I'll get to that in a bit. But first, you know what? Let's just talk about what I fucking loved about Wano. To me, Wano contains One Piece at its best. Some of its best moments are what really defines what to me makes One Piece so special. But if I'm being honest, that really should be a given with how long this freaking arc is. I mean, I didn't even read this weekly and I'm like, damn, this arc just keeps going on and on. I mean, if you're a One Piece fan, which I'm sure you are if you're watching this video, you'd know that Wano was probably one of the most hyped up arc in its entire history. Everything in the New World was basically building up towards this one arc, and did it deliver? Well, yes and no. There are some things I didn't like about this arc, but there was a lot, and I mean a lot to love about Wano. Like, fuck, where do I even begin to talk about this shit? I probably should have made notes or something. Alright, first thing that comes to mind. Oda has set such a high bar when it comes to flashback arcs in One Piece. Any seasoned One Piece viewer will know flashback arc is where the real shit goes down. This is where Oda in a few episodes or chapters takes your heart, crushes it, and goes, "You stupid motherfucker. You thought things would end well, you stupid bitch." And even with all that so far, I think the flashback arc in Wano is the best flashback arc in One Piece so far. To me, Oden as a character absolutely lived up to the hype. He was goofy, he was badass, he was funny, he was tragic, he was epic, he was able to exude every emotion under the sun. He is what every One Piece character should be. I mean, it was a flashback arc, we knew he was going to die, but seeing the manner in which it was done, seeing him fucking holding up everyone in boiling oil, refusing to die, and then getting shot, and then just ending with Oden is Oden cause he was made to boil. It was just, right in the Kokoro, man. It was an epic, sad, and poetic way to go out in a way One Piece is just a master at doing. And then seeing a callback to Oden when the Yakuza 9 were fighting with Kaido, and then when they fucking all did this and did the Nitoryu, I was just like, ah! There are a few scenes that bring me equal amount of tears as it does hype, and this was one of them. It was fucking incredible. Okay, moving on. You know, a moment is special when it can bring you equal parts of tears as it does hype, and this was it. This was one of those moments. But I think what really set this flashback arc apart wasn't just Oden. One Piece has had plenty of compelling characters in its flashback arcs before, but this one felt like it added so much context into the wider world of One Piece. It actually felt like a necessary arc. Not saying that other flashback arcs weren't necessary, but if you think about it, a lot of them could be cut out, and you could still enjoy the story of One Piece, but with the flashback arc, you had way more context into why you should give a shit about this villain being taken down. Which the Oden arc did, but on top of that, you got to learn about Whitebeard, you got to learn about Rogers more. You know, never before would I think a panel of someone laughing would be one of the most impactful panels I've seen in One Piece. You know, it's panels like this that shows that One Piece isn't just all about the epic moments, it isn't even all about the sad moments. Some of the simplest moments can bring you such a magical feeling of joy, which is something I've really only experienced with One Piece. So Oda, Congratulations on making the most legendary Keck W of all time. But another thing I liked about Wano is that for the first time in what seems to me like a fucking long time, it feels like we got a chance to see the entire Straw Hat crew shine, with a lot of neat little moments in between. Like, you'd think 1,000 chapters in there would be no opportunity for new little cool character moments, but like, I thought it was such a cool little moment seeing Sanji calling out to Robin for help and actually see Robin having a fight again. It was just good to see my girl in action again. It's been way too long since we've seen Robin had a proper fight. Another cool little moments like Nami in the face of death reaffirming her loyalty to Luffy, which we already know she was loyal to Luffy and the Straw Hats. That's been established before. But you know what I mean when I say that even if you know a mate really well, you talk a lot of shit together, you have that trust that you can talk a lot of shit. It's always nice every now and again to have a moment where you can just reaffirm everything you knew about each other, especially if it's been a long time since you've just had a real proper moment together. And that's what it felt like here. It felt like the Straw Hats were a proper crew again where everyone had a role to play. And that was actually kind of refreshing because for the longest time it felt like the spotlight was put on the big three of Luffy, Zoro and Sanji, and the lineage they were making for themselves in the wider world while everyone else kind of just played backup. But here it felt like it was established that once again, yes, the Straw Hat crews are the main characters of One Piece. And you know what, it kind of just feels like I'm touching on the surface because there are so many amazing fucking moments in this arc and I'm never going to be able to remember them all. Like, let's talk about the rooftop scene. Let's talk about the worst generation versus Big Mom and Kaido. If you want to talk about One Piece at its peak, this was it. This was such an insane standoff. And in my eyes, this was right up there with Luffy and crew walking towards Arlong Park, Straw Hats crew versus CP9. In fact, I think this standoff might be even higher than any of these other previous standoffs because I've seen the anime episode of this and holy shit. It's episodes like this that make me really regret dropping the anime and just reading the manga. If only I had enough time to watch the anime nowadays, because I would really have loved to experience moments like this for the first time in animated form. You know, this is probably my favorite moment in the raid of Onigashima and the best parts of all the fights in general. You know, aside from the scale and lineage and build up with everything that was going on with the rooftop fight, I also loved seeing the chemistry grow between the supernovas with Luffy, Law and Kid. Oda did such a good job establishing the feeling of these bratty new kids on the block challenging the old guard. Also, I was a Law fan before, but Law confirming that he was a tsundere towards the Straw Hat just fucking did it for me. Like, I just loved it. Every time Luffy would tell him to do something, he would be like, I'm not doing this because you're telling me or anything, baka. And just seeing the rivalry between these three grow was just hilarious in every way. Which brings me to the conclusion of the fight, and maybe some things I wasn't such a big fan of. You know, with this entire arc, you can feel how much Oda cared about Wano. You know, aside from this being one of the longest arcs in One Piece, just everything building up to this one arc, and it just being the Japan arc in general, it felt like Oda tried to put absolutely everything in this arc. He threw the fucking kitchen sink at us and more. And I feel like because of that, he might have cared a little too much because it made the arc a little bit bloated in my opinion. I already talked about how many cool moments there are in this arc, how many epic and sad moments there are in this arc. So many moments, I'm not even going to be able to recall them all unless I reread that and actually took notes. But also I feel like a lot of those moments were just way too spread out. There are a few things I don't think was absolutely necessary with this arc. I don't remember a whole load of Act 1 and many parts of Act 2. Like the whole Big Mom amnesia thing that happened and kind of, I feel like didn't really lead anywhere or add anything to the arc. And also I feel like the final big boss, Kaido, just wasn't as interesting as previous One Piece villains. I mean, yes, absolutely hyped seeing Kaido one-shot Luffy for the first time, seeing him going on his drunken rampage, absolutely hilarious. I loved all that shit. But it feels like it was just very simple compared to the lineage of amazing One Piece villains. I don't think every villain needs to be like Doflamingo level of complexity, but it felt like for the build-up he had, the legacy of being one of the four Yonkos, someone on the same level as Giga Chad Whitebeard, his character kind of just boiled down to strong man too strong. Strong man likes to fight other strong man and look for a fighting challenge. Motherfucker had the same mentality as Goku, except Goku just wasn't as bad a father.
Beat him within an inch of his life and hang him up by his entrails!
Wow, he sounds like he's had a hard time. Piccolo should really have a talk with him.
And let's talk about Gear 5. Oh, okay, obviously when Gear 5 came out, it like broke the internet. And I'll be honest, Gear 5 is probably the closest we've gotten to an actual Super Saiyan Luffy. I can't fucking deny that the form looks absolutely badass. Like when Gear 2nd came out with the pink skin steaming everywhere, badass. Gear 3rd with the giant fist emerging from a building, badass. Gear 4th, initial impression I was like, who the fuck is this Looney Tunes character? You know, Gear 5th definitely looks cooler than Gear 4th, and did anyone notice that Gear 5th's ability is to turn anything it touches into the property of Bungie and Gum? Gear 5th is Bungie Gum. But regardless of how Gear 5th looked, it definitely didn't give me the same feeling as the previous Gears did. You know, even though I clowned Gear 4th, still absolutely hyped when he unveiled it. But to me, seeing Luffy use Red Rock and seeing him infuse Conqueror's Haki into his attacks, that, in my opinion, was way more hype than anything that went on in the Gear 5th fight. Because when I think of epic conclusion in One Piece fights like Luffy versus Crocodile or Luffy using Gatling against Rob Lucci, it felt like he earned it. He poured blood, sweat, and tears in earning that victory. When he got Gear 5 and awakened Soy Boy, Soy Boy, Soy Boy! Luffy, awakening the inner powers of Soy Boy. The legendary Soy Boy. When he awakened Joy Boy, and it turns out he ate one of the legendary devil fruits. Even though Oda technically foreshadowed it with the sun god Nika, which I don't know how some of you motherfuckers remember this one panel from Skypiea. I can't even remember where I put my fucking car keys, let alone a single drawing from a panel 500 fucking chapters ago. It felt like victory was instead thrust upon him. So yeah, because of that, I'm not sure how I feel about Luffy being Joy Boy just yet. One thing I've always loved about the world of One Piece is that it felt like anyone could kick some ass. Anyone could make a name for themselves. You could bump into some random guy in the street or a bar and they could have like a badass backstory or have a part of some secret lineage in some other pirate crew or something. And Luffy just felt like another normal person in this world, just trying to make a name for themselves. But now it almost feels like he was destined to be this pirate king. He was destined to be one of the grand characters in One Piece, and I'm not sure how I feel about that just yet. And I felt like the end of the Luffy-Kaido fight was just lacking in that emotional gratification that a fight of this caliber and this hypeness really should have had. But at the end of the day, even though I've got my complaints, I'm still going to remember this arc for its best moments. I've kind of just learned to enjoy One Piece chapter by chapter now because I don't know what Oda might have in store for us further down the line. Some of these problems I've had might be addressed in the future, which has happened before, and some might not be. It's hard to tell because One Piece has always been about the long game. There are plenty of arcs in the past I've had problems with, which I like more now looking back on them, because at the end of the day, I'm always going to remember them for the special moments. And to me, Wano had some of the best moments in One Piece, even if a lot of those moments had a big lull in between. Wano is at times One Piece at its best, and also at times One Piece at its worst, which is to be expected for an arc this long. Because what I've realized about myself looking through all of the discourse and now trying to make my own videos about One Piece is that I can never look at One Piece through a critical eye. Every time I read One Piece, it just makes me feel like a kid again. You know, back in the time when you didn't think about story structure, character arcs, themes and all that shit, watching something just gave you this pure childish enjoyment, and that's what One Piece does every time I read it. And that's why I could never be a One Piece YouTuber, because every arc, I swear, I'd be like, yeah, One Piece good, I enjoy. And that's why it kind of scares me that for the first time after Wano is now over, it actually feels like we're in the end game. There's been so many times in the past where Oda's like, guys, I swear, One Piece is gonna end soon. We're in the second half. There's only 10 years left or so. And every time we're like, okay, Oda, okay, whatever you say, okay, it's gonna end. All right. But now it feels like for the first time, it actually looks like it's happening. We all believe it. And I gotta say, whew, this is a strange feeling. One Piece has just always been one of those constants in my life. Something I could never envision seeing the end of, and now that we actually see the finish line in sight, I am equally excited as I am absolutely fucking terrified. I'm not sure if I'm ready for One Piece to end. I'm not sure if I'll ever be ready for One Piece to end, but seeing One Piece now going through its final arc, I am absolutely hyped to see what Oda has in store for us, and Also, absolutely dreading it. Anyway, that's been my attempt to be a One Piece YouTuber for a day. I know this wasn't as thorough a review of Wano as some other YouTubers have done. This was just me spewing shit off the top of my head. But you know, hopefully this will do for you, for anyone interested in my thoughts, because I'm probably never gonna get to the point where I actually sit down and make a scripted review on Wano or anything One Piece related. This is just me fanboying over One Piece once again, because I know that I could never do a critical scripted review of One Piece in any way, shape or form on my main channel. Anyway, shout out to all my fellow One Piece fans. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hey guys, before you go anywhere, I wanted to give a quick shout out because I just received one of the coolest pieces of One Piece merch I think I've ever owned. Woo! Look at this beauty, guys. Look at this. This is a One Piece ukiyo-e woodcut print. Now this was made by a traditional Japanese craftsman because ukiyo-e is a woodblock printing technique dating back all the way back to the Edo period of Japan. So this technique is hundreds of years old. And honestly, I don't know how well the detail is showing, but up close there's such a nice texture and aesthetic. Ugh, this looks so good. Any true One Piece fan should know this scene. Come on guys, you know this, you know this. It's one of my favorite scenes of all time in One Piece, ending off one of my favorite arcs in all of One Piece, which is Alabasta, of course. If I really need to spell it out for you, which I'm sure I don't because this is a One Piece video, this is the symbol of friendship scene. Now this is actually a super limited piece of merch. There's only going to be 150 pieces worldwide, and I'm going to be honest, I was going to buy one myself because I fucking love One Piece, but they ended up contacting me and asking, hey, do you want to give us a shout out at the end of one of your videos? And I'm like, I'm actually going to be doing a One Piece video, so this is perfect. So yeah, like I said, this is a super limited piece of merch and they're opening up to pre-orders right now. So get them in now while you can, guys. Anyway, that's it from me. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.